This is the Real Change Wilmington Podcast, episode 68, the story of Trail Haus and upcoming Southridge Brewing with our guests today, Jen Purkey and Brad Heys.
For me, it's really showing my kids that they can do whatever they want and showing them that there's nothing more valuable than hard work. I mean, they saw me or they've heard me talk about having my own place their entire life. And, I was here for probably 10, 12 years before it happened, but something that I didn't give up on. I was willing to work hard towards. And if I could teach my kids that lesson in life, don't give up on your dreams and continue to work hard and don't expect anything from anybody, and good things can happen.
What is going on, everyone? This is your host of the Real Change Wilmington Podcast, Dustin Pierce. Real Change is a positive, constructive, and lighthearted source of local news, events, and resources. On our podcast, we interview leaders of local organizations to help squash rumors and encourage a greater sense of pride in our community. We have a great episode for you today with our guests, Jen Purkey and Brad Heys, who we had on about a year ago to talk about Kava Haus, but they are back 6 or 7 months into Trail Haus now to give us an update on the story of how it got started and what it's like day to day now that they're up and running. And towards the end of the podcast, we also chat about their upcoming Southridge Brewing project as well in the old Broush Brewing building down on South Street. So this is a little bit of a longer podcast, over an hour. So we are going to just jump right in. Without further ado, let's hear from our guest, Jen Purkey and Brad Heys. All right, Jen Purkey and Brad Heys, welcome to the Real Change Wilmington Podcast. Jen and Brad are business partners with Kava Haus and the future Southridge Brewing Company. So before we get into the businesses, and also Trail Haus, which we're here to talk about.
Yeah, don't forget Trail Haus.
Yeah. But before we get into those things, we're going to just get a quick recap about who you guys are. So Jen, we're going to feature you. Can you start by talking about where you're from and what brought you to Wilmington?
I'm actually a Vandalia, Ohio graduate. I went to Wright State University, got a degree in biology, and married my husband, Matt Purkey. And we ended up here because good friends of ours, the DeLays, Molly and Mark, bought the General Denver. And I started working for them. And we moved here, and the rest is history. So that's
nice.
Kind of the short story.
Yeah, very cool. We were at the Visitors Bureau a few weeks ago, and one of your relatives was there who was, I think, related to the people who own the General Denver. Talking about their side of the story of having you come on. It was
Tara,
a crazy idea. Yeah.
That's my sister-in-law. So yeah, we were kind of friends and family, ended up being very close family members too. So that was quite a big chunk of my journey here in Wilmington. So,
yeah. And
when I left there, we partnered with Brad, and now we're going on this other journey of more of an ownership side than just, doing stuff on our own. So,
yeah. And Brad, we heard about your story on our last podcast, your love story, as we called it, the Kava Haus love story. What brought you to Wilmington?
Well, I'm out of love stories, so no love story today, but, my wife, Trisha, grew up in the area, went to Massey. She's part of the Broush clan, and been married about 31 years, moved to Wilmington in 2001. We have 3 wonderful kids, Emma, Josie, and Simon. Opened up Kava Haus just over 10 years ago. Decided to partner with Jen. We've been friends for over 20 years, and decided to do Trail Haus last year. And after 6 months, we got bored, and we're going to open another restaurant.
That's crazy.
We were getting way too much sleep.
Nobody needs 3 hours of sleep a night.
Yikes. So you have 3 kids. What do they do? Simon works at Trail Haus, seems like.
Simon is our main roaster. We roast all of our own beans for Kava Haus, Kava Haus Xenia, Trail Haus, and Taylor's coffee shop in Waynesville. And then he's works out front, does the social media aspects of Trail Haus. And my youngest, Josie, is a set design major at CCM at UC. And my oldest, Emma, lives up in Northern Ohio, and she works at the local YMCA, and she lives up there with her husband.
Nice. And Jen, you have kids.
I have one. Yeah, I have a 7-year-old, Jackson, and He's
Do you have
in
a job
first
yet?
grade. His job is whatever I tell him to do. But he keeps me entertained. But he's, into all things that 7-year-olds are into. Sports, lots of sports.
Yeah.
And yeah.
7 years old. What's his favorite TV show these days for the kids?
Oh my gosh. I would have said Bluey.
Yeah.
But now it's really just anything Avengers and anything sports. That's pretty much all we watch.
It's because you're raising him right. Avengers and sports. We're happy.
Yeah.
And food, of course.
Yes.
Very cool. So what are some of your hobbies outside of 2 hours of sleep?
You're serious. I'm sorry. I thought that was a joke.
You
Brad, you
run.
run. Yeah,
I see you
you're a
around town
runner.
running. So.
I run some, not as much as I should.
Mm-hmm.
We like to eat, obviously, so I run so I don't weigh 350 pounds.
Well, and I'd say that's both our hobbies. We love to cook for our families. Both Brad and I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, people think it's crazy,
Cook
but
with
on
our
my
kids.
off days, I enjoy being in the kitchen cooking. My wife is an awesome gardener, and we have this deal. I don't like the summer heat, so she gardens outside all summer, brings me fresh fruits and vegetables, and I will cook for her all day long in the AC.
Yeah. It's a good arrangement.
Yeah.
Jen, what are your hobbies? Yeah, that's something.
This
question
is...
Okay, wait.
Okay.
I like to drink beer. So no, but I do enjoy, visiting breweries and trying new beers and stuff like that. I would say that's semi-hobby-ish.
We're both...
But we really do just cook a lot.
Foodies.
Well, we're very similar in the fact that we love food, we love to cook, and we really just like spending time with our families.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of us thinks there's anything wrong with that. So that's really what we do.
Practice math with my son. Is that a hobby?
You're doing great with your addition tables, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do people ever call you guys workaholics? Because I feel like you're working technically at your house, like cooking stuff, and it's something you do for work. Do they say that about you or no?
I've had people say that, but I also feel very, very fortunate. I get to do what I love every day. Like I've owned my own business now for over 10 years, and there literally has not been one day that I woke up and wished I did not have to go into work. There's days I wish I could have slept in longer, don't get me wrong. But I feel like I'm one of the luckiest people I know because I get to do what I love with people I love every day. And there's a whole lot of people who aren't that fortunate.
And you get to impact a lot of people in the community too. People love going to your restaurants.
I hope so. I feel, our goal is to be ourselves and produce awesome food in an awesome environment. And, hopefully our passion for what we do comes across the counter and people feed off that.
Yeah.
That was awful.
That was great.
No, the pun was awful.
I thought it was...
It was not intentional.
Okay. So last time we talked, you had recently opened the Kava Haus in Xenia, but I was at Trail Haus recently, and it sounds like that's franchise now or something?
Yeah, our general manager, Ellie Smedley, basically took over. We have an awesome arrangement with her, and she is absolutely killing it. 2024 was the best year Kava Haus Xenia has ever had. She, unlike me, she's young with tons of energy, and she's doing a great job.
Was it just a better arrangement to have it franchise as opposed to just having a manager that you oversee? Or
yeah, as Jen and I started to dive into different ventures and stuff, I needed to take something off my plate, and that was an opportunity to give somebody, meaning Ellie, an opportunity to do something she's passionate about, and we went for it. And so far, it's working great for both parties.
Do you foresee having additional franchises of Kava Haus?
Possibly. We're not actively pursuing any at the current time, but
in 6 months, it could all change.
Never say
as
never.
Jen and I have proven, you never know what's going to happen in 6 months.
Yeah.
I always say I'm a businessman. I'm open to hearing anybody's offers or opinions, and we'll go from there. So, but nothing that we're pursuing right now.
Yeah. So last question I'll ask about you guys is just what's a defining moment of your life that's helped make you who you are or help shape your values and personality?
It's an easy one for me. The moment my wife decided to go on the first date with me, I mean, because it wasn't for her, I'd be a hot mess. Well, a bigger mess than I already am. But no, my wife grounds me. I had and have awesome parents who have supported me through all these different adventures and ventures, and had just wonderful support. But, in the end, I do what I do now because of Trisha and the support that she's given me throughout the years. It 100% would not be possible without her.
Does she have a full-time job? Does she work outside of?
Yeah, taking care of me is a full-time job.
Yeah.
No, wait. She gardens for all the restaurants?
She
decorates?
She decorates.
All of our stuff?
She does all the stuff that you see that makes the two restaurants special that Jen and I don't have to do.
Okay.
So
the vibes, kind of?
Yeah, like, when it comes to decorating, when it comes
like paint colors, painting.
Yeah, Jen and I are horrible at that. And
yeah.
she's really good at it.
Yeah. Furniture.
Mhm.
But yeah, also just taking care of the plants that are there and making new ones for us. And
she's there supporting us in any way. If she's in the shop or busy, she might be taking out trash, doing dishes, or what she's really good at, just working the room and talking to the customers and making everybody feel welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's an important job to make people feel a part of the business and put the people connected to the people who work there.
I think a lot of places miss that component. They're so worried about the inner workings of the business. Sometimes they miss going out with the public, with the customers, and to make people feel like it's their place, like they're extra welcome. It's more than just serving them food, right? They love hearing stories. They love hearing about what's going on in your life, and they love feeling like they're part of our places, because they are. We wouldn't do what we do if it wasn't for the guests, and we owe it to them to go out there and be with them.
Yeah, I appreciate when the baristas take the time to get to know your name or something funny about you and tease you and stuff. So makes it homey and nice.
Yeah, I told my son Simon when we first opened up, so he must have been, I don't know, 12, 13 years old, something like that. He was in theater in town at the time, and I said, think of this as being a 60-second stage performance. You have to entertain somebody for about 60 seconds. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that, you'll win them over.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good at that.
He's pretty darn good at it, yeah.
He's almost too good at that.
Yeah, like you definitely tell he loves his job.
He's a passionate young man.
That is true.
I always feel bad for people following up this question. So Jen, was a defining moment in your life that helped shape you?
I mean, so many things, but I made a decision to come work for the General Denver. Molly's daughter Tara and I were on a little trip together with my mom and my aunt, and we were just talking one day, and I just made a decision that I was gonna come work for Molly. It was scary and something I hadn't done. I'd worked at restaurants before, but I had never I was going to be creating menus and being an actual chef.
Did you go to school for culinary?
I didn't. I went for biology. I had always been kind of like the event coordinator, planner, chef for all my group of friends, and all the things that we had ever done. I was always planning that stuff, so I felt real excited about having a chance to do that professionally. But I'd always worked in restaurants. I never had any other job, and I graduated and decided to go into management with the restaurant that I was at, and I never stopped. I never did do anything that I thought I would do with my degree, but I always had a passion for the restaurant business, and I think I had that hospitality kind of ingrained in me or in my blood somehow. And I love taking care of people, and I love making people happy with food. So
where did that come from?
I don't know if it's just my family. That's just the times that we spend together my whole life that I remember the most are meals together, special things that maybe we always have at certain times a year, or just those traditions that you create with food, and mostly just being in the kitchen. My whole life I've probably spent 50% of my day in the kitchen, be it preparing meals, having meals, sitting at the table, doing homework or whatever. It's just all revolved around the kitchen. So I think that's probably obviously where I'm most comfortable, but also it just makes me makes me feel good, makes me feel at home or whatever. But when I came to work for Mark and Molly, they were just starting this little, they were crazy because they were a nurse and a fireman, and they bought a restaurant that had a bar and a catering business and a hotel. And we just kind of all jumped in, feet first and grew that business together. And it was really an amazing experience. And I think the reason I bring it up and the reason I think that I'm where I'm at today is because I didn't own that business, but they gave me every tool I could possibly ever need to feel confident that we could go open a business, that we could make it work, that no matter what happened, I knew I had the fortitude to withstand it.
Yeah.
That I could, work dusk till dawn every day and it would just get through it. And not only that, but they taught me some valuable lessons about how you spend your money and how you take care of your people. And I don't know, I grew a lot in that 20 years and learned a lot and have the fondest of memories working for them and being at the GD and learning, millions of people in town. It seems like I have all my connections and fond memories of so many people, guests that have come, and Kava Haus guests and Trail Haus guests now, and some have passed. And it's just been a really awesome experience being here in Wilmington and now raising my family in Wilmington and having the connection to the community that we have, being not only with our restaurants, but my husband being on city council and just having just really, I don't know.
People love you.
Oh.
I can imagine they have some opinions about.
Yeah, they do. They do.
But you can make enemies that way.
But yeah, so that's where I am and why I am here. So,
are you naturally a risk taker, or did seeing two people who have no experience in a restaurant, a hotel business, achieve that, give you the confidence to do it for yourself?
I think I don't know if I would call myself a risk taker, but I've always done what I felt I needed to do as far as like what's going to be best for me and my family. Like, it was risky going to work for them, as far as like it was a financial decision that my husband and I had to make that we weren't sure about. But besides that, it was, I felt like I was following my heart. And I always feel like if I do that and I, follow my gut and then it's worked out over time. But
Yes, it has.
And you sleep 3 hours a day. I'll get it done.
Not every day. We catch up on Sundays.
That's good.
Yeah.
So let's transition into Trail Haus.
Okay.
What was the inspiration for Trail Haus? I think you said in my interview last time for Kava Haus, you had some idea for expansion when you brought Jen on. So when did the idea for Trail Haus come about and solidify?
So it was probably 2 or 3 years ago. Josh Schlabach, who owns the property, he owns Wheelies next to Trail Haus. Him and his wife, Terry, approached me about putting a small cafe in there. They wanted to open a bike shop with a small cafe, kind of a European style setup. So I had a few talks with them, eventually told him that I was very interested in just waiting for the construction to happen. That's when Jen was entertaining the idea of leaving the General Denver, and we got together and told her I had this opportunity of opening a new restaurant, many, many moons ago when I bartended at the General Denver. We had talked about maybe someday having a place together, but really up until that point, didn't think it would happen. She was so entrenched in the General Denver, and I had this coffee shop going and just really didn't think it was going to happen. And then when it looked like she was going to leave the GD and I had an opportunity with Schlabachs, we got together and started brainstorming. So she came over to Kava Haus for, how long were you there before?
Before we
opened Trail Haus, about a year and a half?
Yeah, not quite. About 16 months, I think.
Okay.
So
yes. Yeah, so
shy.
We basically got together and started brainstorming some conceptual ideas of what we thought Trail Haus should be, what would be great for the community with it being on right on the trail, what we'd like to do, how we like to cook. And so we started working on a menu there. And
we were looking for, at the time, we really didn't think there was a place where you could get some healthy options that were not only healthy, but that were, still a good restaurant experience. You're not just getting, maybe your only option on some menus or a salad or a grilled chicken breast. So we want to make it a little bit more exciting, introduce some new flavors, try to incorporate as much local as we could. But, thinking, where we're located right there by the bike path and next to wheelies and, thinking that our clientele might want some more healthier options. So that was part of our menu, was creating that, what we call the Blue Zone, which are you familiar with the Blue Zone? Should we elaborate on that?
That's a rabbit hole we might not get out of. But we were, I'll never forget, somebody had, actually one of our food reps turned us onto the Blue Zone, and it was basically a documentary. This guy traveled all over the world and found different pockets around the world where people routinely live to be into their 90s, 100 and plus. And he was trying to find connections of why these certain areas, these people live so long. And it wasn't just one thing. Food was part of it. Community was another part. Exercise was a part of it. And it just felt like that was everything we were talking about at Trail Haus. There's the exercise option of being there right on the trail. We wanted our restaurant to be a place of community where people felt comfortable to go to meet, to interact with each other and with us. And then we thought there was a need for some more exciting, healthier options. And one of the things that we both like to do with our cooking is think outside the box. We love creating things that no other place has. So we stole a little bit from some of those areas in the Blue Zone from that documentary and created a Blue Zone section of our menu that has been a huge success so far.
Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than we have a comfort zone too, which is just the opposite, if you will.
We do live in Clinton County after all. And
it's more good for your soul than
we're a firm believer in moderation.
Yes.
Right? So we try to eat out of the Blue Zone most days, but we definitely dive into the comfort zone every once in a while.
Yeah.
So,
but that Blue Zone has been growing. We have lots of ideas of things we want to put there. So our specials sometimes revolve around the healthier options. And we do run specials every week that are different. So that's always something to look forward to. But that's kind of the impetus.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's very healthy.
Less sodium than normal ramen or something.
Not less sodium, but
I don't know, it's healthy.
I mean, aside from the sodium, what would not be healthy about it? It's basically vegetables.
Yeah.
I mean, almost all of it was vegetables. You could add meat to it, but.
And with us making it from scratch, the sodium is much lower than if you bought something prepackaged or anything like that. So.
Yeah, and the broth was a vegetable broth that we used for that. So we just, steeped vegetables all day and made an awesome broth from it. So, and we did add some stuff to it. But
so far, that's
especially
been
your guys' ramen with it's fresh and the eggs in it. It's and make it super hot too. It's the best.
The chili oil. Oh.
Yeah. We can skip ahead to a question and come back. So the vibe, number 4, what was the vibe you were trying to create and how close did you guys come to it with the food and the aesthetic of the building?
I think we're still in progress with that. We're still decorating.
Definitely. Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out what our demographic is.
Yeah, so
just who we need to cater to most, I guess. But we're just trying to kind of be all things right now.
For sure.
But
since technically we haven't been open during the spring yet, so we're real excited to see now that the weather's starting to shift. We're hoping, obviously there'll be more people on the trails once the weather gets nicer. So it's definitely a vibe of people coming in and out, some sitting and meeting for an hour. Sometimes it's people walking up the trail and stopping in to get a quick snack or drink and be on their way. So it's a ever evolving type of situation with the vibe. Trisha's been working on some different wall hangings and stuff that you'll see start popping up here. Actually, something should have been up if I would have remembered my tool bag this morning. But yeah, it'll definitely, it's definitely a work in progress.
Yeah. So you didn't like go into it thinking I need to paint every wall, hang every picture up front. You wanted to kind of wait and see how your demographic panned out, what will be best.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were just kind of waiting for it to tell us what to do, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think we had ideas, and I think some of those ideas still will come to fruition, but...
That's a very artsy thing to say. Like, what's the space telling us? But I do that all the time with my team. Walk around, like, my hands, like, what's the space? Like, what's the space telling me need to go right here, you know? It's so frou-frou, but it does. It matters. Like, people feel it out without even knowing it, you know?
We thought in the beginning we had a very, like, nature feel to it, so we thought there'd be a lot of live plants and stuff, and again, now that the weather's changing and Trisha will be able to get out to different garden stores and things like that, there's already, just in the past few weeks, been some greens been added to the space, and that will,
it's starting to warm it up.
That will definitely grow this time of year.
I think that'll add to the healthy feel to the place.
Oh, without a doubt.
Live plants, and it makes the food even feel healthier than it is.
Yeah. Well, and I think the artwork will be mostly local things. Like Trish just brought in a beautiful picture of Cowan Lake that she took. It's gonna be perfect for the space. And we have some stuff from Bruce. Go ahead.
Bruce Saunders is working on a cool project, so we'll keep it as a surprise. But it's going to be a pretty big wall hanging that will have some definite local ties.
I'll have to ask Bruce in secret then. Bruce talked at Cape May this morning about the Trail Coalition. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, very cool. Were there any restaurants that you liked their vibe that inspired you for the aesthetic or the menu? I think you talked last time about some brunch place in Columbus that was like served breakfast all day. It was on campus.
Oh, we were talking about Hangover Easy.
Yeah.
We don't have that vibe at all.
I don't think so. There's it's very dingy there. Like, not dingy, but like you guys are very different vibe completely.
It's what it is, and their food is not healthy by any stretch. But I think we're still looking to get our liquor license. That's still in process, but we really wanted to have definitely breakfast all day, and we toyed around with that still even at the beginning, like, should we be doing this? But you'd be amazed how many people will order breakfast at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Well, that's because we would.
Yeah, I know.
Breakfast all day.
Yeah. So we kind of still, like that all day breakfast vibe, but it's not, I wouldn't compare it to what we were thinking of originally.
No, one of the things with our menu too is we try to source as many local things as possible, and it's much easier to do with the fruits and vegetables and stuff. But that alone gives it a lighter, fresher vibe.
Yeah. Let's talk about the process of starting Trail Haus. So my note says, I'm assuming that you didn't reach into your pockets and get thousands of dollars to get all this equipment. Unless you did, I mean, that'd be great. But I'm assuming there was maybe some help with wheelies and the space, and maybe how do you start a restaurant from scratch?
Two ways. Yeah, you either have friends or colleagues who are very generous, or you're very wealthy, and we are not very wealthy. So we feel very blessed that Josh and Terry Schlebach gave us an opportunity to be successful early on. We walked into a fully equipped kitchen, a fully equipped restaurant area where we really had to bring in the food and the employees and our expertise. And they just provided us an opportunity to get off to a great start. We feel very, very fortunate and grateful that they were involved.
Still that supportive today. Yeah. I mean, they're just...
So that with their support, we were just able to get off to a pretty fast start. Kava Haus, on the other hand, we started really slow on purpose because we didn't have a whole lot of money, so it was very baby steps. And we started kind of small at Trail Haus. And one thing I've learned through my two businesses so far, and even at the General Denver, you guys did this, you start slow, you slowly expand the hours, you slowly expand the menu. When I started at the General Denver, dinner was only what, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night? Yeah. And now General Denver, when Jen left, was dinner basically 5 or 6 days a week. So we started off nice and easy to get things going, and then took off from there.
So you didn't really have a lot of overhead expenses to deal with because the kitchen was there. You just had to buy the food and
some of the small wares and stuff we had to bring in, but they really set us up.
Yeah, with the major purchases for sure.
I've talked to them a few times about their vision for wheelies and trails, and it's crazy that they have. So Josh builds fences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And construction. So they have no experience with bike business or a cafe, but they're like, we're going to do it. And it's going to work.
Yeah.
And they made it happen.
They're very passionate, and they're
visionaries.
They are.
Yeah.
They see what they want for the town and for their community, and they feel like this business is a stepping stone to like other businesses of its nature, and just helping the community grow. And
they obviously want these businesses to be profitable, right? You don't go into this hoping you're going to lose some money. So they're trying to make money. But that's not the main reason they did it. The main reason, at least this is what I've always taken from talking to them, was that these places are going to make Wilmington a better place to live.
And they live here too. So they want their community that they live in to be better.
They live 3/4 of a mile from these places, right? They have young children. Mm-hmm. They have a big family, and they want to see them have opportunities in this town and more places to go and more experiences. And to me, that's what I've always gotten from them. That's what they really wanted, was to just make Wilmington a better place for parents.
Yeah. That's a critique I get sometimes with my newspaper thing. It's like, what's your secret motive here? And it's like, well, I have the skill to design things and I want things to be more positive. So my secret motive is I live here. I want it to be better. That's the secret motive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the customer experience. So you guys have counter service, you have a drive-through, you have indoor and outdoor seating. What's the vibe someone gets when they come to your restaurant?
Okay. So first correction.
Okay.
This is coming directly from my son. We have a pickup window.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the reason we're making a distinction is not that we really take your order. If you pulled up to the window, we would. But that window is really for pickup. If you like to call an order for pickup, or we're on an app called Toast Local.
Yeah.
If you download that app, you can see our entire menu, what's available that day. You can order from that app. And then literally just swipe up to the side of the building and we'll hand you your food. So it works for it.
It's probably an uphill battle to change people from saying drive-through to take up.
It is, yeah. We just don't want people to...
For sure, they can order there.
Yeah. And again, if you drove up, so that's a take it.
After you shame them. I'm just kidding.
You shame no one.
Yeah.
Involved.
Uh-huh. I had a question about, this is just a me thing. So what is the etiquette for tipping at a restaurant where you order your food and then sit down and potentially get it yourself? What's like the proper etiquette?
I don't know if I can answer that specifically. I can tell you what's the norm.
Yeah.
I mean, so like when we were growing up, we're old enough that there weren't restaurants like this. There was fast food restaurants and then there was sit down restaurants, and we're kind of a hybrid. So even though you're ordering at the counter at Trail Haus, we deliver your food per se. There's not servers per se, but I would say probably on average, the tips are still probably 10 to 15%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So probably a little bit less in a sit down restaurant, but
what we like to hope is that you're getting a quick and convenient order method, but you're still getting that vibe that, we're going to still take care of you more than you would get at, say, fast food. So I know 90% or more of the food gets delivered. Some days it's 100% to the table. So we have the opportunity there at that point to, see if you needed refills or anything like that. And, just depending on how busy we are, you can bus your own table to the trash bus tub area, but I know we try to get them out there pre-busing so that you don't have to take your dishes. And then, again, hopefully we have some people circulating throughout the room just to see if you need a hit of coffee or anything, silverware, napkins, more condiments, stuff like that.
In today's world, this is becoming a more and more popular style. And one of the reasons with ever increasing prices of everything, we can keep fewer employees on the clock doing it this way, which will allow us to keep the prices of our menu items a little bit less. So,
yeah.
So far, we pay our employees a little bit higher than server pay because we know they're not getting quite the same tips as servers would, but they did pretty good. So we have no complaints from our employees.
Makes me feel I typically assume that it was 10% tip was good because it's not a full restaurant.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah. Okay.
And I think because we focus on so much repeat business.
Yeah.
Sometimes our people are getting tips for their past performance even. So if they know they're going to get great service, there's people that started off tipping 10%. They might be all the way up to 15 or 20% now because they know that our people are going to be on the floor checking out. They're going to have a great experience, great food. And
yeah. What about, seating wise, do you guys feel like you wish you would have had more?
We do wish we had more, but we are also
going into it, you're like, this is a pretty good size, but then you get,
with the outdoor, if you add the outdoor seating, it seemed like, oh, we've got plenty of seating. And then we hit winter. I was like, oh, wow.
Maybe we wish, and this is a good thing, we wish we had more indoor seating. We're super excited. We got to see it a little bit in the spring and the fall, but now as our businesses increase this spring, this summer with the outdoor patio, it seats about 30.
It's 30, yeah.
About 36 on the patio. But then we have rooftop seating too. And that's going to become real popular as more and more people find out about it.
Yeah, about 20 people can sit up there right now.
Yeah. I liked sitting outside, definitely, when it was warmer out. Yeah. We were always sitting outside.
Yeah, it's a nice option. There's not a lot of outdoor seating in Wilmington, so that's something great that we were well excited about when we saw the property initially.
At some point you could possibly canopy all that or enclose it for the winter, maybe. I mean, at some point.
We have talked to the Schleibucks about that.
Yeah.
And that is something that, that may or may not happen, but definitely something we talk about.
Yeah. And then what about catering? Do you guys do a lot of events or businesses need meals?
In-house stuff. So we do events. I wouldn't call us caterers. We'll do a delivery. We don't cater to a place per se, but we do some special orders. We have events at our business with our hours currently being 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday. We have a lot of those. Obviously we have the evenings open where we can do private dinners, and we had that Christmas event with Bear Ward's Theater.
Brian Wallingford and his crew came in and put on an awesome Christmas show that they wrote themselves. So we had dinner and a show at Christmas time. We're hoping to do that again this year.
Yeah, it's that's fun stuff. But we do meetings and showers and receptions and
birthday parties, get-togethers, whatever you want.
So that's outside of our normal business hours. So having our hours that way does facilitate that.
We don't do deliveries for one order to somebody's house.
Yeah, I assume. Yeah.
Large orders. Right. If there's a local business who's having a lunch, Wilmington Savings Bank is a huge supporter of us, and they do breakfast and lunch quite often with us, and we'll deliver for their staff.
Nice. All right. So I want to just follow back up on the menu talk real quick. You do have a lot of healthy options, but they are tasty. So how do you come up with those concoctions?
Experiment.
Yeah, we call it the test kitchen.
The best part of the job isn't anything that anybody ever sees except Jen and I. It's honestly coming up with recipes. We have so much fun just coming up with new menu items. We, talk about, Sunday's a rest day for us, but a lot of times on Sundays we're texting each other recipes, ideas, and rarely something that hits the menu has it been just worked on one time. Good example is our house dressing, which is a roasted garlic vinaigrette. How many versions of that did we make I mean, 10, 15, and it's almost like a science experiment. We sit there with a pad of paper and we write, what we start with, the original recipe, and tweak it and write down like notes, what we like, what we don't like, what we're trying to change. And I can't imagine how bad our broth was the day we were working on that one. It has a whole lot of garlic in
Yeah, it was.
one day. But that's really what we love to do, is just experiment. And we both love to eat, and we want that healthy portion of the menu to be super healthy, but in the end, it has to be delicious. We're not putting something on the menu just because it's healthy if it doesn't taste good.
One of my go-tos is the Buddha
Buddha
bowl.
bowl.
That's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a question here that says, what's your favorite thing? That's what I would probably point to as my favorite.
yeah.
My favorite dish is the Buddha bowl, just because it has a variety of vegetables, because it's whatever we're getting that week. But then it's also, if you feel good when you're done eating it, because it doesn't have.
Yeah, it's not too heavy, but it's healthy and also delicious.
Yeah, and it gives you a lot of good nutrients.
If we had to pick like one item that like, this is your signature item, it would be that. Just like Jen said, it has tons of local ingredients. It has, it has that roasted garlic vinaigrette in it. So it has something very original, very unique to us. You can't get anyplace else, not that version. And ties to the community with all the local ingredients. And you can feel good about what you ate that day. And in the end, it's delicious.
That it is.
Sorry, I was going to ask off the wall. Do you ever get any pushback on the name of the Buddha bowl? Like a very small town Christian community. You ever?
Yeah.
We have a drink at Kava Haus called a Derby White Buddha.
Okay. Oh,
And
okay.
It's probably one of our top 3 most popular drinks. And I don't even know how we came up with the name Buddha bowl. Do you remember?
It is, because that's what it is. Like, that's a thing, a Buddha bowl.
Oh,
Like I didn't make that up.
I'm giving you full credit for it. I don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. Just ask my wife.
oh my gosh.
It was not religious in nature.
No.
It's like ramen. It's like a thing.
Oh, sure.
Ramen.
How do you decide how many items is good for a menu?
Take an Axogen's menu.
Really?
So it's small.
You have a lot of stuff on your menu.
Yeah, we do.
And that's been pared down many, many times.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But our reps help with that too. We put together a menu. We've got a particular rep that we enjoy a lot, and he'll be very honest about everything.
What is he a rep of?
He is a salesman for Chef's Warehouse and Michael's, and he's
passionate. Like
he is very passionate. Like we very much enjoy him. But
so we supply some of your
him
food.
And our GFS reps really awesome
Gotcha.
too. That they'll look at our menu and say, that's too much or not enough, or you should think about this.
Like industry best practices and stuff that they see other places.
Yeah. We get a little guidance from them, and I think really we just look at what can we execute.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have too much, then we have to start trimming.
You have to train your staff on all the different items, right? So it's a lot.
It is. We just hired a new chef, by the way, that's going to be kind of taking over when I'm more at the brewery. Mm-hmm. And I've got an assistant, Ethan. And if you've seen any of our kind of introducing the team at Southridge stuff, he's been working with me for a few months, and he was just a kid when he started with me at the Journal Denver. So Ethan's come with me, and he's going with me to the brewery. And we hired someone named James Stillwell. Sorry, thinking of a band. Anyway, James Stillwell, and he's been with us just for a couple weeks, but he's doing real good, and we're excited to
super excited
to see what his potential is as far as creating new recipes and that kind of thing. He's definitely got the skills that we wanted, and he seems to he's about my age, so so that's good too. He's going to be a reliable replacement for us, I think. So we're excited about that.
You guys have a lot of local stuff there. Who are some local farmers what are the local items that you try to incorporate into your dishes? And
so daily we have our sausage we get from Walnut Ridge Acres, the Portmans, and so we do our regular breakfast sausage and our chorizo. And then, for instance, I'm doing a Fat Tuesday menu tomorrow, and that'll have the Cajun sausage that they make too. So anything pork related that I can get from them that fits on our menu, we'll do that. We get the vegetables we get from a lady named Kathy. She used to be Heisey Herb Farm, but I think she might have changed her name now. But she's in that Cedars Creek area toward Waynesville. And then we get our lamb from Bankbird Meats, the Germans. And then I do get stuff from, who else do I get stuff from?
Henson's.
Oh, yes, the Hensons. They do, especially like a lot of greens and stuff from them. And I think that's, as far as like regular business, that's what we do. I've had a couple other people send out feelers for some other stuff, but those are my main go-to people.
That's very cool. So as far as the day-to-day of running these restaurants and coffee shops, Brad, you talked about how your family is involved, your wife and your son. Jen, do you have family involved? Is Matt or your son involved?
Jeff is really good at wiping down tables, especially when they're already clean. And then he likes to sweep, and he sometimes makes bread with me in the mornings too before he goes to school. But in reality, my husband is super supportive of all the businesses. He's a lot of times will be like, just call Matt. He's our IT guy, our idea guy sometimes. We got to run it by Matt to see what he thinks guy for HR. He does a lot of supportive role.
Matt also has years of experience in the food industry, in the hospitality industry. So he's a great sounding board. He'll have an opinion about all of our issues.
He always has an opinion. That is so true. But now that we're opening Southridge, he has a lot of input as far as...
He's very knowledgeable. We're very fortunate to have him to call on for a lot of ideas or suggestions or directing us back in the right direction.
Yeah. Sometimes just talking me off of the ledge. He's good at that. But...
Talking you off the ledge.
Yeah. You know, when you were
like, it's all too much. What am I doing? Yeah.
I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has a good...
That's good
calming sense to him. So,
I mean, he's good at city council and he's just trying to even things out, you know?
Yeah.
He's president.
Yeah, he is good at that.
I think. Do you guys have any big plans for your 1-year anniversary at Trail Haus? Any celebrations, special dish items? Are you so overwhelmed with Southridge? Yes, you're just like...
We can't tell you what it's going to be. But
neither do you know.
We might have a grand opening of a new restaurant that same day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm joking. But, so our 1-year anniversary will be, of our official opening day, will be June 21st, I think. Because June, or it might be June 20th. I have to look back. But we did a pre-opening party on a Wednesday evening, and that following Friday we opened. So that was our official opening weekend. So we have a few months to plan that. So, but we'll look forward to doing some sort of celebration.
Oh, we love celebrating. So there'll be something.
Yeah, it'd be warm, so it'd be good. Outside seating and stuff. So you started Trail Haus less than a year ago, and you're already on to the Southridge Brewing Company. Brad, your wife is a Brausch, you said?
Correct.
Okay. So they announced that they were closing a few months ago. And how did this all come about?
So my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Travis and Christine Brausch, backstory, they purchased this building about a little over 10 years ago. And to be perfectly honest, it should have probably been torn down. It was in really, really rough shape. And they did a tremendous job taking something that should have been demolished and bringing it back to life. So the town's very fortunate that they had Travis and Christine and their vision and their hard work to do a lot of work in building. They ran their brewery for, I think, about 9 years, and they have a very large family, and Travis is a full-time fireman, and I think it just got to be too much. It was time to spend more time with the family. So they decided to put the brewery up for sale, and Jen and I and our third partner at the brewery, Alex Reinhardt, who's our master brewer, got together and after looking at the place a couple times, decided that we're going to dive into this. 9 months ago, we opened Trail Haus. There was no thought of adding a third third restaurant to our portfolio. It was just one of those things in life that, at least to us, it felt like it was too good to pass up. So we decided,
We've been talking to Alex for over the course of a few months prior to that and talking about possibly building a brewery or finding a suitable space to put a brewery and then Brush. It was just weird. It was like kismet.
The talks with Alex were long-term goals.
Yeah.
Like years down the road.
Who is Alex again? Can you what's his background? How did he get involved with all this?
Alex is the most local of all of us
Of all
sitting
of
at
us, yes.
this table.
Yeah.
Alex was born right here in Wilmington, graduated from Wilmington High School, went to Wilmington College, taught at Wilmington College, was a athletic trainer at the college.
He was a professor,
athletic trainer, left there and really got to know what Jen started to get to know him when he started bartending as a general manager. My family actually knew Alex from his theater days. When he was in high school, my wife, Tricia, did the choreography for the high school shows, and Alex was one of the best dancers around. So he got talked about in our house quite a bit. So Alex has some...
He's so talented.
He is very talented. So if you're ever at the brewery and you decide you want to dance and you need a partner, Alex would be the one to ask.
Yes.
He's very gracious with his time and he loves dancing. So just ask him at any point in time to come behind the bar to dance with you.
Yeah.
But Alex did work for me at
He
the GD for a couple of years before he moved on to, he started brewing at Warped Wing, was his first brew job. And then
he was in a couple of years.
Yep. Yeah. And then he moved on to Fibonacci and he is their head brewer at Fibonacci Brewing. And then always wanting, obviously, to be his own brewer.
Yeah. So we started talking about maybe eventually in the future having a place, the three of us, and then the Browsh opportunity presented itself and it was just too good of an opportunity to pass up. So we decided to jump at it.
So is he still a professor at the college?
No, he left the college and then needed a intermediate job before he went on to his next career.
Yeah.
The general manager, and he just didn't leave for a while because he enjoyed bartending. And
so he was full time at the General Denver, and then he was full time at. Is he still full time at the other brewery? And he's
their only brewer currently.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
So yeah, but he will leave there eventually, and we'll all just be. We won't all be there. He'll be there 100% of the time, and we'll still have all of our other businesses. But
so we went down a rabbit hole. What's the vision for Southridge Brewing? Because your tagline is it community crafted? Yeah,
community crafted. In a lot of ways, very similar to what we've talked about at Trail Haus. We're looking to create a place that the community goes and hangs out at. Alex brews in the same way that we like to cook and create menus. He uses a lot of local ingredients when possible. He's very hands-on. He'll be creating a lot of very unique brews. So he fits in with the style that Jen and I have with our cooking. We're trying to create a place that, you can come in and sit down and just relax and have one beer, or you can come and sit down and have a full meal with your family.
What's the aesthetic going to be like? Because I've seen pictures online of you doing a lot of remodeling or building tables or something. How different from what was currently there?
We're definitely trying to change the feeling of the room. Mm-hmm. In today's world, breweries are a lot brighter and lighter feeling than bars of 30 years ago. So we're trying to lighten the space up a little bit. Just change it. We don't have the money to change the building a whole lot. So really, it's mostly cosmetic work. Mm-hmm. So we want people to walk in who've been there years ago and be like, wow, this is so different.
Yeah. That's what I hear all the time when I go to Lumberton General Store. People will come in and be like, wow, this has changed so much since I've been here last time.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Are you guys...
But similar to what they did. They brightened up their space a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Made it a little more modern, but, definitely as a awesome overhaul. They did a great job there.
Do you guys plan on canning your beers and distributing them to other locations or putting them on tap other places?
That's very long term.
As in like 7 months, you mean?
Please.
We deserve that.
Yeah.
We'll probably have what's called a crowler station right away.
Oh,
so
nice.
you'll be able to take, I believe it's 32 ounces of our beer home in a can.
Okay.
That's real popular in the brewery industry right now.
A crowler's like a growler, but a giant can, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not as big as a growler.
Yeah. A growler would be more like 64 ounces, where this is in a glass bottle. So about a crowler is
Yes. Similar in size to a howler. Isn't that what the smaller?
Yes, I believe so.
The smaller growler is.
See, you're asking us Alex questions right now. But way down the road, if the opportunity presents itself, so I won't be surprised if we.
Yeah, we don't have any aversion to do it.
Yes.
So we just need time.
Yeah. That'd be cool if we have a cider place that makes their own cider that distributes to places, and we'll have our own beer place.
Yeah.
The new flavors and stuff. What's the menu going to look like?
Jen?
This is one of the hardest questions because I think it's hard to stick us in a box.
Yeah. Well, and people have asked me, most people that are concerned with what we're serving, they want to make sure that we're going to have entrees available, I think, which we will. We'll be doing like a steak, some sort of fish, some sort of chicken. I'm unwilling to commit to anything in this podcast because it's too early. I have a general menu laid out, but I'm not ready to share it yet. But the goal would be, and what Ethan and I are working on, we really like rustic cooking, and we really like, when you go to a brewery, a lot of times you're going to have food that's incorporates the beer in it. So, will there be beer cheese soup or sauce or dip? Yes, of course. Yeah. But some other things too that will incorporate some of the beer and the sauces that we use and stuff like that. So we're obviously thinking that kind of stuff. There'll be shareable plates, where, maybe platters of things. But again, this is the biggest hint I'm going to give you. I don't know. One thing is for sure, it will be all, fresh and tasty and good. And that's really where, as long as it falls into those requirements, which I'm happy with anything on my menu that people love. So that's what my goal is going to be. It's just make people love to eat it and eat it with beer. That's our ultimate goal. If it goes good with beer, it'll probably be on the menu.
Yeah. I think it is hard to put you guys in a box. Because Trail Haus, I wouldn't even know what category to put that into, but it's good. You got to just experience it,
Yeah. When people ask me that question, what's your menu going to be like? It's honestly the hardest question to answer for me.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hard to describe with just one or two words what we do. I mean, we're all over the place. Tons of fresh local ingredients. As you mentioned before, we have ramen on our menu. I mean, how many restaurants that aren't a ramen place have ramen? And I'm talking
good
ramen made from scratch.
For sure.
Right? So it's difficult to put a label on it.
And we'll have other things. I didn't think about this, it's just speaking, but we'll have a couple sandwiches. We'll have salads. It's going to be just a pretty, they'll have a good variety. We're talking about doing pizza there also, similar to what Kava does.
Are you going to do hot dogs, Brad?
I don't think that.
Gourmet hot dogs?
No, but who knows?
Yeah, you do never know. It could happen.
All of our menus at all of our places, one of our favorite things are the daily or weekly specials. So a lot of times things that we think we're going to put on the menu, we kind of table that for the permanent menu, and we run the specials every once in a while. So,
like the ramen. Yeah, it's a really great example.
Will there be games and activities for families and kids and people just hanging out?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there would be necessarily a game room, but we're definitely going to have a family-friendly area so parents can come with their kids and they'll have a place for the kids to go. And we're trying to create almost like zones. We're going to have one area that we're calling the lounge. It's not a real big area, but it might be a little bit darker and with comfy furniture. And then we'll have the main pub where there'll be a lot more socializing and mingling and just general movement going on. And then we'll have kind of like a family area also.
And then there is that private, if you're familiar with Roush, have that private dining room that we'll have available also.
We're super excited about that area. It's going to give us an opportunity to have private parties while the pub is still open.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to have to close the brewery if you want to bring your group of 20 or 30 for a private event.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. I like that businesses have, or restaurants have different areas. You can kind of choose what fits you, you know?
Yeah. That's what we're hoping
Exactly.
to give kind of everyone an opportunity to find a space they really like to hang out in.
Anything else that you're excited about for Brausch Brewing?
Brausch Brewing was what it used to be.
I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm just...
Oh, I do it all the time.
We're like an hour in this podcast here. I'm getting sad. No, yeah.
So it's...
I was going to say, I like that it's called Southridge Brewing, because I feel like that area is kind of, maybe feels like it's forgotten.
Well,
So it's like bringing life back to, and pride back to that area, I think.
It's interesting you brought that up because we had a really difficult time with the name.
Uh-huh.
Trail Haus, it just seemed like a natural. We're right there on the trail. We moved from Kava Haus to Trail Haus.
Could have been Rail House on the railroads.
we talked about that.
That was actually one of the ones I was throwing out.
Yeah.
Connotations.
But we...
Oh my gosh, Jen, what the... I wasn't even thinking that. Yikes.
Edit that out.
I might have to. I might have to.
Coming up with the name was really difficult. In the end, we really wanted the name to have a connection to the town. We really, really want this place to feel like Wilmington's hangout, right? And Alex actually grew up in the Southridge area. Jen currently lives in the Southridge area. I agree with you that does tend to feel like it's almost a forgotten part of town sometimes. And I know some of the local groups in town are trying to revitalize that area. So when one of us threw out Southridge, it just felt like a natural.
Yeah, we were like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
After weeks of throwing out names. And
Very cool. What was one of the most challenging things you've had to overcome with opening Trail Haus? How have you grown from? I mean, you already had a business for 10 years, so you have plenty of experience. But was there any unforeseen challenge with this one?
I feel like when you open a business, my personal opinion is knowing how to staff it, how to order, what your actual business is going to be. I think that's the biggest challenge. And even still, we're growing, which is great, but you just, learning what your menu mix is going to be and trying to decide what actually is popular, what's not. How many people do you need on, between 9 and 10 a.m., the stuff like that. That's the challenge. And just getting people trained properly and hoping that they take ownership and understand what you're trying to accomplish. Those are, to me, the biggest challenges.
Yeah. For me, it was definitely writing the menu. Jen and I love food so much that I think it got up to a good 3 pages long at one point. And, knowing that in the beginning, we wanted to keep it small, but still have a wide variety, right? So we'd still represent what Jen and I love to do. And that's very challenging because there has to be that variety, but it has to be something that can be executed day one. And that's the hard part. Once we were open for, a few weeks, a month, things started to fall into place and you get a better sense of what you're able to do in that specific workspace. But man, the challenge of writing that menu for day one was daunting.
You guys didn't have much of a soft opening, did you? It was pretty much full out.
One day, a couple hours.
Yeah.
We did a friends and family event on Wednesday, then we opened on Friday, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Thursday we could tweak things but yeah, we kind of.
You just never know what people are gonna. We thought we'd sold a lot of this, and oh my gosh, I can't believe we sold a lot of that. It's just it's the variable of the unknown.
The unknown. Yeah.
What are you most proud of through this specific business journey with the Trail Haus?
For me, it's 2 things. One, that we were willing to take on the risk and the challenge. A lot of people talk about doing these things, and I talked about it for years before I had the guts to try it. And no, it's a big endeavor, and it takes a lot of support from a lot of people, especially family members. Yeah. So super proud that we had the opportunity to even try it. So it's probably that. And then there's nothing better than walking around town, hearing people talk about, or people stopping and asking you what your specials are, or things of that nature. So already I feel like it's starting to become entrenched in the community as a place to go for awesome breakfast and lunch.
I think it's a place that people can be proud of in Wilmington too. I'm proud to take my family there when we come into town. It's like, look at what Wilmington has.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the Schlebas. That was
100%.
their vision. Like they wanted to create
Yeah.
something like that people of Wilmington like yourself would be proud of. And,
Yeah.
and you would want to show off.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of communities, a lot of bigger communities that don't have something like that.
I hear all the time about people, so talking to like the Port Authority and like, why do housing developers not come here? It's because there's not a case study for it. There's no other people doing it. But like people from the community like us can like build things just on a vision. We don't need a case study. We don't need all this. Like, we just know what will be great here and we do it.
We first opened up Kava Haus, I used to say every morning or before we open the door, let's be kind and let's be awesome. And I totally believe that. Like if you're kind and willing to work hard, you can accomplish a lot, right? It's not easy, and there's definitely going to be setbacks at times. But if you're just kind to people and work your butt off, you can accomplish a lot. And I think we're really proud that both of us. That's what we do, right? Doesn't always come easy. There's a whole lot of late nights, a whole lot of 12-hour days, some 14-hour days. But we love what we do. We love interacting with people and creating great food. And so far, it's served us well.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of the team that we've got at Trail Haus. They are really concerned about the quality of like the guest experience, the food that they're serving, the value, the property. Like they just really do take that ownership that we were really hoping that we were going to get from them. And
yeah, they share our passion.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the food industry. There's a lot of issues with staffing, and it is challenging. But in both of our locations, we have very little turnover, and we do have quite a few people who share our passion. And a lot of our employees are in the front lines. A lot of times when Jenna are in the back, and they can convey that same feeling to the guests.
I think most of my interactions with Kava Haus or Trail Haus has been your employees and not you guys, and they make the place great. So yeah,
it's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's one of the best compliments you can give us.
Yep.
Yeah,
it means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Last question about the businesses is just, we always ask about rumors and stigmas. We try to find dirt on you guys, but couldn't find anything. So is there any like maybe misconceptions is a better thing, misconceptions about Trail Haus that we could just work through?
Misconceptions?
The drive-through is a pickup.
That's right. That's the drive-through.
Yeah.
There you go, Simon. You're welcome. I think maybe one, especially early on, was Jen Purkey had this certain menu at the General Denver, and I think some people thought it would be the same.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is I think the service piece, when you asked about the counter service, I think some people don't expect that when they come in.
Yeah,
I'd say that's really the only thing I can think of is that they're not sure what to expect, but they don't expect that.
Right.
Especially
do you have a sign that says "Order here" above?
Well, we need to have
that's a work in progress also.
Yeah. Okay.
You're welcome, Simon. This podcast is dedicated to Simon Hayes and all of his great ideas.
Has he been like hounding you about it forever? And you just
listening is a accurate term.
Okay. I mean, if you have a printer, you just print off a sign, stick it on there for now, laminate it.
It's in the works.
Very cool. What keeps you passionate about what you do and having 3 businesses and sleeping not at all?
For me, it's really showing my kids that they can do whatever they want, right? It's in showing them that there's nothing more valuable than hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, they saw me or they've heard me talk about having my own place their entire life. my wife, Trish, and I talked about many, many different ideas of having some type of food establishment in town. And, I was here for probably 12 years before it happened. But, um, it's something that I didn't give up on. I was willing to work hard towards. And, for me personally, I take a lot of pride in that if I could teach my kids that lesson in life, don't give up on your dreams and continue to work hard and don't expect anything from anybody and just do it. And good things can happen.
I think that's cool that you had a dream. Your family heard you have this dream and then you actually did it. It's very empowering for your family.
Well, and it feels like the dream is just continuing because
dream, nightmare, sometimes it's
It
a
depends.
thin line.
but also it's for me, in addition to what Brad says, and this being sort of a legacy for my child, and whether he wants to work with me or for me or instead of me, who knows, someday. With me, he's a little baby, but I get to work with my best friend, and now we have Alex, and it's like, and we have Jacqueline, our general manager at Kava Haus, truly a great friend. I mean, just people that are, they're there for you through thick and thin, and you laugh with them, you cry with them, and it's the best. Like you said, you don't dread going to work ever. You can't wait to hang out with people that you're working with. And it's an awesome feeling.
I'm glad you brought up Jacqueline, because so little of my time now compared to years ago is spent at Kava Haus. And I was able to partner with Jen to do Trail Haus and now work on opening the brewery, and would not be possible without her. I mean, she's the one that's really running Kava Haus on a daily basis now. I always joke that my job is, I'm like a train conductor. My only job is to keep this train on the tracks. What she tells me where to go and what to do and who to talk to. And she reminded me I had this podcast today. So
thank you, Jacqueline.
Yeah. She's truly amazing. We definitely wouldn't be doing this without her. So we got lucky with her too.
Yes, we did. Very.
I always like to ask people what's a quote or piece of wisdom that's helped guide them, or a philosophy that they live by that they'd want to share with other people.
I'd say before I had my son, it was work hard, play hard.
Now it's just work.
Now it's work hard, nap hard. Get the naps in when you can get them in and keep going.
You have a savage quote like "eat or be eaten." That's not your vibe, though. It's not your vibe at all.
Eat good food and laugh a lot.
I know. Yeah.
It sounds like following your dreams is a philosophy that you want to pass on to your kids. I'm sure that would be just a general thing, and work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I always try to live my life.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not shy away from hard work for long hours, and
we try to be there for anyone,
anybody.
Everyone.
Yeah.
That's I mean, that's the thing. That is, and I take that from my experience with General Number 2, just that you're not one entity. You have to kind of help support other businesses and other people in the community, and obviously your family and friends. But
it's like a rising tide raises all ships kind of quote.
Yeah. You're so much more poetic.
Yeah, baby.
That's not from me. That's someone else said that.
I know, we even know more quotes than we do.
Okay.
We spend too much time in the kitchen.
What's a positive change that you like to see happen in our community other than opening Southridge?
I'd like to see the city officials push growth. Like, there's so many opportunities in this town, and we would love, the average person might not get this, but we would love to see more restaurants and bars in this community. Is what happens is, if we have more, we'll become more of a destination place.
Yeah.
And once you're a destination places, all the local businesses, retail and hospitality wise, will all benefit.
And you're more attractive to people that want to move here.
Yeah. Those home developers you were talking about. We have some great places, between Veracruz and our places and the Mediterranean and Eldorados. We have a lot of small business owners that have taken a lot of chances and built some great things. And it'd be nice to have even more, a little bit newer. We have Old Town, almost right next door to you.
Yeah.
Is it right next door?
It is.
It's
right
a few
next door.
doors down. Yeah.
Few doors down.
Yeah.
So I hope the leaders of our community realize we need even more of that.
Yeah.
And the town will be able to prosper.
I 100% agree. Yeah. I'd like to see it be more artsy a little bit, to attract just people in general.
Some more culture.
More culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
More pride in local.
Yeah.
Like not just like, oh, Wilmington, but like Wilmington, like it's exciting, like, yeah.
Oh, and we have incredibly talented people
Yeah.
in this town.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Between, different artists and theater people and the theater we have on the college campus and Murphy Theater. There's tons of opportunities here.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to help build it all up.
Yeah. Jen, what's a positive change that you would like to see?
I would say, obviously, with my kid being 7, I like to see the community, and I don't know how we do that, be more, what's the word I'm looking for? I just always look for positive change in the schools. And, be it through people wanting to keep their kids in Wilmington and have their kids go to Wilmington schools and, just be supportive of what we're doing there. So that's, as raising a first grader and thinking about him growing up here and, all the things we just talked about, making the community more positive, having more opportunities to do different things for my son to grow up someplace he can be proud of. But, he's going to be in Wilmington schools for the next however many years that is, 11 years, something like that. And I just, that's one thing that I hope for is that we continue improving that area in our community.
Yeah. Our schools definitely need help. And we need to be more proud of our schools too, instead of just trying to fight against them, I guess, because they are our schools.
Yeah.
So
we always say that we want to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
You don't need to talk about what we're not doing.
Yeah.
Just
just
we need to raise a good human and have him be, participate in things and understand what it means to respect and respect his teachers and respect having an education and be grateful for all of that. So that's where we.
What grade is he in?
He's in first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that concludes our podcast. How can people best get in touch with you if they have more questions or ideas or things I didn't ask?
We're big into social media. So if you're on Instagram or Facebook and you are interested in Kava Haus, or Trail Haus or Southridge Brewing, that's probably the best way. Google us. We're all over Google and pretty easy to get a hold of.
Or just stop by the restaurant.
Yeah.
Even better.
We're almost always
Not guarantee which one I'll be at, but Jen will probably be at Trail's.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time to be here, and thank you for what you do in our community.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, that's it for our podcast today, folks. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Jen Purkey and Brad Heys over at Trail Haus and Southridge Brewing. If you have more questions or ideas for them, please feel free to reach out directly. If they'll talk to us dorks, they will certainly talk to you as well, because after all, we are a community of empowered individuals. If you want to get in touch with Real Change Wilmington to share your story, you can contact us on our website, realchangewilmington.com, visit our Facebook and Instagram pages, or grab a free copy of our local newspaper at Kroger, Sam's Meat, and Fiesta Veracruz. We also currently sending our newspaper direct mail to over 2,500 Wilmington residents a month. So if you want to help us cover our printing costs and advertise your local business, event, or job posting, please email us at advertise@realchangewilmington.com. With that, I'm your host, Dustin Pierce. Keep it real, Wilmington.